Dinky Doo wasn't sure what to feel. For one thing, she was kind of afraid of the unicorn standing only a few feet away from her, constantly barking threats and insults, even though the magic held her down. On the other hoof, she wasn't listening to half of what the malicious mayor had to say anyways, because she was too busy being proud of herself and suddenly amazed at being able to perform a true spell. She'd never have even attempted such a thing before, and now, here she was, locked in a paralyzing face-off with a unicorn with far greater age and experience. But from that same vein came a large dollop of confusion. Why exactly was she able to do this right now, with no prior experience? Not only had she replicated her first spell, but she was able to use that knowledge to analyze glows and produce a whole new spell. Dinky wasn't Dinky wasn't stupid. It was pretty obvious that that kind of thing just didn't happen around normal fillies. What are you doing, wondering about that? Dinky mentally asked herself. At the moment, I think it's a little more important that you be grateful it's happening than worrying about why. But as the minutes dragged onwards, the filly's strength began to wane. She wasn't used to this new and unique strains that the production of magic put on her body. She was tiring, and it was visible enough that Glow soon picked up on it. Ha! The evil unicorn laughed. Getting tired of holding me here? You can't keep this up as long as I can, kid. And as soon as your magic gives out, I'm gonna... The sound of the door bursting open once again startled both Dinky and Glow, so much that both their spells collapsed so they could move again. Ditsy Doo charged into the kitchen, followed closely by the rest of the team from Equestria's Speedy Shipping Services, and, to Glow's surprise, Screwball. Dinky immediately took advantage of the momentary lapse and scrambled behind the protective wall formed by her mother and the rest of the team. Ditsy gave her daughter a quick, approving smile before turning back to her nemesis. It's over, Glow, Ditsy said. Luna's assignment is complete. Glow scowled, looking mainly not at Ditsy but at Screwball. What's wrong with you? She asked the Chaos Pony. You could have beaten them. Why didn't you finish your job? Screwball shrugged and pointed at Ditsy. She said no. Glow's eyes twitched involuntarily. You stopped causing chaos because they asked you to. What kind of evil henchman are you? Screwball blinked obviously. Oh, Screwball isn't done causing Screwball isn't done causing chaos for tonight, Ditsy said slyly. There's still one pony here that she wants to give a big thanks to. With a huge and perfectly innocent and sincere grin, Screwball floated into the air and began to drift toward Glow. The unicorn gasped, backing up until she was pressed against the far wall. Quickly, she activated another magical shield. Ha! She laughed. Let's see you get past that, you little weirdo. Glow's demeanor changed pretty quickly when Screwball passed right through the shield, as if it wasn't even there. The unicorn quivered as her assailant floated up right next to her. The Chaos Pony stopped and glanced back at Ditsy as if waiting for a cue. Go ahead, Ditsy urged, just like we planned. Screwball giggled and tapped the cowering pony gently on the head. A moment of silence later, Glow opened one eye and glanced around, but nothing seemed different. Tentatively, she looked up at Screwball. What did you do? Screwball took a small breath, blew a gentle breath over Glow's hair. The small breeze she produced demonstrated quite well what she had done to her victim. The unicorn's entire mane floated off in the weak air current, without any resistance. You detached my mane? The now bald Glow cried, whirling to face Screwball angrily, even though the other shippers burst out into laughter. She grabbed the floating pony, yanking her down to her level. What is wrong with you? Put it back right now, you sick little traitor! I think there is more than one sick little traitor in this room, came a deafening voice. Every pony turned to discover Princess Luna, who, having seen her friends off safely from the grounds, now trotted briskly through the kitchen doors, glaring angrily at the ponies that had nearly ruined their friendship with Twilight in their company. Glow yelped like a trapped animal and immediately teleported, accidentally taking Screwball with her. Shoot, Bruce growled. There she goes again. Let her go, Luna said. She'd be a pretty stupid pony indeed to dare come back again after that. Besides, I'm sure that the little creature of discords will provide more than enough punishment. That thing seems to be quite attached to her. Luna was quiet for a moment. All the ponies waited for her to continue. With that taken care of, Luna said, it is getting pretty late, and I have my usual evening duties to attend to. She turned to Ditsy and Breeze. And I would like to see you two tomorrow morning, before normal waking hours. We shall discuss compensation. Ditzy gasped. You're still going to reward us after everything that happened? Luna gave a tiny smile. I suppose everything worked out in the end, she admitted. Maybe not as well as I had hoped, but enough that I can't let you go unrewarded. Like I said, come by in the early morning, and we will negotiate the proper payment. Luna turned and strode regally out of the room, leaving the four adults and the filly alone. Equestria Speedy Shipping Services has closed for the night, Cloudcover pointed out. Let's just catch the late train back to Ponyville. Tomorrow, Watt and I will provide the mission details to Candy Floss, and the two of you can come back here for your meeting with Luna. Does that sound good? Every pony nodded. Until tomorrow, then, Bree said. I have a feeling it's going to be an interesting day for work for all of us. Ditzy Doo was lost in thought. While her friends celebrated their victory on the train ride home, she sat quietly, thinking about everything that had just happened. Dinky, whose bedtime had long since come and gone, leaned against her mother's side, dozing peacefully. The filly was so worn out from all the excitement that she didn't even wake up as Ditzy flew her home from the train station. Now, with the filly tucked in and sleeping peacefully, Ditzy wished that she could do the same, but sleep came only in short, fitful spells. Too much was riding on her meeting with Luna the next morning. The mare hoped that she could catch the princess in a generous mood. At the crack of dawn, the sleepy pony climbed out of bed. She had no time to get breakfast, but that was fine. There would be some available at work. But first, she had a flight to and from Canterlot ahead of her. She brushed her mane, grabbed her saddlebags, and launched out the door. A short while later, Ditty sailed through the crisp air over Canterlot, approaching the gleamless spires of the castle. A red speck was visible in the air near Princess Luna's tower. It seemed Breeze had gone there much earlier than she had. Good morning, said Breeze as his co-worker joined them in the airspace near the tower. So, are you ready? I guess so, said Ditzy, still hoping against hope that Luna would take pity on the situation she and Dinky were in. The Pegasi landed on the balcony, and Breeze rapped gently on the door. After a moment, it opened magically. Princess Luna sat within. She invited her visitors inside. Good morning, Princess, Ditzy said as she and Breeze bowed. How was your night? It was very pleasant, thank you, Luna responded. I'm glad the two of you were able to make it on such early hours, but as you know, the life of a princess can be busy, and after our meeting I shall be retiring to my bed until this evening. The princess stood up and stepped closer to her visitors. Now then, I have decided to leave rewards open for you to decide. Each of you may take your request, and I shall grant it if I feel that your efforts were worth such a reward. Ditzy swallowed hard. The moment of truth had arrived. She had thought about this moment for hours, and now the time had come for her to act upon the decision. Bree smiled. Go ahead, Ditzy. You first. Ditzy nodded. All right, Princess Luna, she began carefully. I've decided what I want to ask for you. You four. The princess turned to her. And what would that be? Ditzy took a deep breath before continuing. I want you to allow my daughter Dinky to be reconsidered for enrollment in your sister's magical academy. A few feet away, Breeze jumped in shock. Ditzy, he gasped. But what about your— Hush, Breeze, Ditzy said. There's no way Dinky can attend the academy if I don't do this. It would make her so happy if she could go, and I can get fine by myself, even given the circumstances. Breeze tried incoherently to argue, but Ditzy raised the hoof to silence him. What do you say, Princess? She asked. Luna looked pensive. It may be possible, she mumbled, but special considerations for enrollment at the academy are not my responsibility. Such decisions are the delegation of my sister my sister Celestia. Did I hear my name? Asked the soothing voice from the doorway. The three ponies turned to the large door, beholding the great white alicorn as she appeared. Princess Ditzy. Oh, behold the muffins. Princess Celestia, Ditzy and Breeze gasped, both falling to their knees respectively as the elder princess entered the room. Hello, and welcome to Canterlot. Welcome to Canterlot, my little ponies, Celestia said benevolently before turning her gaze back to the younger sister. Now, Luna, did I hear you talking about me? Yes, Luna said. It would seem my friend Ditzy Doo here has a daughter that has been rejected for the Academy of Gifted Unicorns. She wishes to see if this decision can be overturned in any way. Celestia looked intrigued. Why was she rejected? She asked. It was because of her lack of experience, Your Majesty, Ditzy said. My little Dinky meets all the qualifications except that of prior experience. You see, my late husband was a unicorn in our family. Being a Pegasus, I was never able to teach Dinky the basics of magic most unicorns learn very early on. The letter I got from the dean of the academy said that this was unacceptable. Celestia nodded. Well, I would have to say I agree. The curriculum at the academy is very rigorous. A unicorn without prior knowledge simply wouldn't be able to keep up. But Dinky's a quick study. She could manage. I know she could, Ditzy argued. Plus, she just used some magic last night. Something that nobody had taught her to do. Princess Celestia looked intrigued, and listened to Ditzy as she described the effects of the spell Ditzy had cast the night before, although not going into detail exactly why the spells had been performed on and on whom. Very interesting, Celestia said finally. Sudden magical powers beyond the expected skill level of the fool are not unheard of, especially under instances of high stress. What is unusual for this fool is that she was easily able to replicate it and the accidental casting, or to manage another spell through simple observation, but your filly seems to have done both. Titi scratched her head. But what does that mean? I'm not completely sure, Celestia said, but it sounds to me like she might have a special talent for magic. Like Twilight Sparkle? Titi asked. No, not like Twilight, Celestia said. Twilight does indeed have an aptitude for magic, but hers stems from a great deal of study. As a filly, her magic was very unpredictable, as is the case for most ponies in their foalhood. What made Twilight stand out was was the sheer magnitude of her power. Dinky, on the other hand, probably matches with most fillies in strength of their magic, but seems to possess noticeably greater control over it than one would expect from a filly her age. Then, given the circumstances, Luna cut in, perhaps we can agree to make an exception and allow this mayor's daughter into the academy after all. Ditzy nodded hopefully. Celestia, however, frowned. As unusual as her case is, I still don't think it would be prudent for her to attend the academy before basic magical training, unless we can find a way to give her very accelerated tutoring courses, so that she could be prepared for the next start of the term. There's no way that we can. Celestia's eyes glinted as an idea crossed her mind. Wait here, she instructed. I'll be right back, said Luna. Oh wait, no. I'll be right back. And Luna, would you come with me? Luna nodded, and both princesses left the chamber, leaving Ditzy and Breeze alone. Are you sure about this? Breeze asked uncomfortably. You're sacrificing a whole lot on your own well-being here. I've lived on the verge of poverty before, Ditzy said. I'll hardly even notice, as long as I don't have to worry about Dinky dealing with it either. I knew there was no way I could have had her reconsidered for the academy unless I did this. I've been thinking about it all night. I know it's the right decision. Breeze nodded slowly. He appeared to be pondering his teammate's logic. Finally, he looked back to her and smiled. Well, I'm behind you. I know that you know what's best for you two. Hoofsteps signaled the return of Celestia and Luna. The princesses entered the room. Celestia was carrying a scroll with her magic. I just sent a letter to Twilight Sparkle, she said, and I have received the response immediately. If, of course, this arrangement is all right with you, she has agreed to provide a highly accelerated training course for Dixie. If the filly keeps up and completes her training course by the time the next term begins, then Luna and I will overrule the Dean's decision and allow Dinky to attend the academy. Really? Ditzy gasped. Oh, thank you. I just know Dinky will be able to do it. Don't thank me, Celestia laughed. Thank Twilight for taking time out of her busy schedule. Although she did seem excited to learn that there was another unusually adept unicorn living in Ponyville. I'm sure she'll be just as happy to teach Dinky as Dinky is to learn. Celestia looked over her shoulder. Well, I have to get going, she said. I'm supposed to be visiting Huffington in a short while. Tell your daughter I said good luck. I will, Ditzy called as Celestia disappeared down the tower stairs. And thanks again. She turned to Luna, and thank you, too, for supporting my side of the issue, Princess. Luna gave him a profound nod. Now, she began, that still leaves the matter of the other aid from yesterday. She looked at Breeze expectantly. Breeze cleared his throat. Well, Princess, I was actually having trouble making my decision. There are plenty of things in Equestria any pony would love to have, many of which I bet you could get from me without a second thought. I almost thought I wasn't going to have decided when it came time for me to ask, but luckily I figured it out. There is one thing that you can do for me that I would really like. Oh, my throat. My throat. Bree smiled as he continued. So you see, my partner and friend Ditzy over here has a massive debt hanging over her head. It was Ditzy's turn to jump in surprise. Breeze, she cried. You don't need to. I mean, this is about you. Don't go asking for stuff for me. Breeze ignored her completely, and so did Luna this time. This debt, he continued, it's not really her fault, and there were a lot of unforeseen circumstances and some very corrupt lawyers working against her. So what I was wondering is, do you think you could have the debt erased? Ditzy tried to say nothing, but Breeze put a hoof on her snout to silence her. Luna's soul glowed, and from thin air she summoned forth the bill in question and read it aloud. By the order of the Royal Court of Canterlot, this document hereby files a charge against Miss Ditzy Doo, Pegasus Pony of Ponyville, of 1,000,000 equestrian bits, to be paid incrementally until the full amount of the charges is met. For damages caused to the irreplaceable artifacts in the Manhattan branch of the Canterlot Royal Treasury. Luna lowered the paper. I heard about this. Personally, I thought the jury's decision was quite ludicrous. But as Celestia and I do not normally preside over court cases, I left it as it was. She looked down at Breeze. This charge does not concern you, and its elimination will most certainly use up any reward I have offered. Are you sure this is what you want? Breeze nodded solemnly. Absolutely, Princess. The princess tossed the paper on the ground and spat on it, and much to the surprise of the Pegasi, this caused the bill to alight with magical blue flames. It was consumed in barely an instant, only ashes remained. All records of Ditzy Doo's death is null and void by decree of the Kingdom of Canterlot, said the princess. Now that you have both been properly rewarded, I will retire to my bed. Yeah, we need to get going too, Breeze said, smirking slightly as he glanced at Ditzy, whose mouth dangled open in shock as she tried to comprehend what Breeze had just done for her. We're gonna be late for work. He leapt into the air. Meet you there, Ditzy. The red Pegasus started away, leaving the mares alone. Luna glanced at Ditzy. You have quite a loyal friend there, said Luna. And with no further elaboration, she strolled lazily to her bed for the day. Ditzy gazed out at Canterlot, trying to process her feelings about what had just transpired. Finally, she slowly lifted herself into the air and began her flight back to Ponyville. Ditzy was in fact a few minutes late getting back to work, but as usual, no pony noticed or cared. She trotted up the stairway to the lounge and entered to find her co-workers chatting away, as if it was just a normal meeting. Well, except Glow was absent, but that didn't really come to a surprise to any pony. The mare trotted right up to Breeze, who turned and flashed his usual casual smile. It made Ditzy a bit frustrated that he was acting so nonchalantly about what just happened. Breeze, she said finally, I don't know what to say. Can you at least tell me why you... There's the pony of the hour, Wall interrupted, having broken off his conversation with Cloudcover long enough to notice Ditzy's arrival. I mentioned to Pinkie Pie that you had beaten the company record, and she instructed me to throw you a party. The Earth Pony dashed to the corner of the room, removed the tarp from the sizable object it had been covering, Pinkie Pie's party cannon. He pulled the string, and with a loud boom, balloons, confetti, and decorations flew across the room. Let's all celebrate Ditzy's breaking the record for most successful assignments, Walt called. Bravo, Ditzy. Bravo, Breeze and Cloudcover echoed. Yes, came another much less mirthful voice. Bravo indeed. To every pony's surprise, Cosmic Glow stepped into the room. Ditzy was shocked to discover her mane was back where it belonged, at least until she caught sight of the price tag dangling from back. With a smirk, she realized that the unicorn was wearing a wig. The pony looked so much worse for wear than when she had the previous evening. Screwball had probably given her many gifts before she'd managed to escape from her chaotic assistant. Glow, said Breeze coldly, I've gotta say, I'm surprised you had the guts to show up after what you did last night. Glow shot Breeze a bored look. Regardless of yesterday, I still work here, don't I? Breeze laughed. Not for long, I bet. You'd be probably stupid if you don't think Candy Floss knows what went down last night. He's not gonna be happy. Glow scoffed. That old windbag is too soft to fire me over something like this, she mused. After all, I'm the best. She stopped speaking, frowned deeply, and started again. I mean second best shipper in the company. She punctuated the sentence by glaring intensely at Vincey's direction. You think so, said Breeze. I don't know, Glow. I'm pretty sure Candy Floss doesn't need you anyway. That was a bad voice, Craig. I hope I don't get sick again, man. That'd be like the 8th time I get sick this year. And it's like barely 419. Tomorrow's 420. Today is 419, tomorrow's 420. Yeah, they're supposed to be, I'm just gonna do this little life story. I don't know why. I just looked at the bottom of the screen, but, me and my friend are in pre-calculus class, and we were talking, and so he says there's supposed to be like a gaming champion, not a championship, but a tournament at like a GameStop, and he's like, and I was like jokingly, I bet you everyone's gonna go hi there. And then he's like, yeah. And I'm like, you could probably win everyone if you didn't, smoke. And he's like, I know, right? I'm gonna go. And I'm like, you're probably gonna win. And he's like, yeah, I know, right? And then, so, yeah, I'm wondering how that's gonna go for him tomorrow. Sticking up for Ditzy again, huh? Glow asked. I suppose some pony has to. Last night at the castle, she demonstrated she's still too soft to stick up for herself anyway. You and her own daughter had to stand up for me instead. Breeze was about to retort when a familiar quiet cough echoed in the doorway. Candyfloss had appeared like magic, and as usual it was impossible to tell how long he had been there, and how much of the recent argument he had just heard. Boss, Breeze said, what's up? Quite a bit, actually, Candyfloss said in his normal calm tone. I have a few bits of business I need to take care of today. First and foremost, I would like to borrow Ditty for a moment. She needs to come to my office and sign a few documents concerning yesterday's important assignment, and get her picture taken for the top employee board. I believe she has surpassed Cosmic Glow. Glow turned away so Candyfloss couldn't see her, gritting her teeth furiously. Candyfloss motioned for the Pegasus to follow, and then turned and disappeared back down the stairs. Ditty glanced at her companions, and then turned to follow, gently shutting the door behind her. She hadn't taken 2 steps down the narrow stairway when the argument behind the door started up again. She hesitated for a moment, listening. What's wrong with you? Breeze growled. I just can't figure out why you hate Ditzy so much. Sure, she's beaten your record, and your attempts to stop her might cost you your job, but you've been like this since the day you first walked into this place. It doesn't matter what I think, Glow shot back. And why do you have to stick up for everything she does? She paused briefly. Oh yeah, that's right, I forgot, she teased. She is your mayor friend. Glow, for the last time, Breeze yelled in exasperation. Ditzy is not my... The stallion suddenly stopped. From outside the door, Ditzy leaned closer, intrigued. Okay, said Breeze finally. You know what, Glow? You're right. To be honest, I do like Ditzy. I like her a lot. I don't know what about her makes me feel this way, but that's fine with me. She's so friendly and approachable, and she'll do anything. Oh, that's all fucked up. Okay, said Breeze finally. You know what, Glow? You're right. To be honest, I do like Ditzy. I like her a whole lot. I don't know if she feels the same way, but I'm fine with that. She's so friendly and approachable, and she'll do anything to help and protect the pony she cares about. I've never met any pony as sweet as she is. She's the absolute complete opposite of you, Glow. A few more seconds of silence passed. And that's why you hate her, isn't it? Breeze continued finally, his voice full of dawning comprehension. Ditzy-Doo is one of the most likable ponies of all Equestria, while you, by contrast, are a selfish, manipulating pain in the flank, and you're just jealous of her. That's ridiculous, Glow snapped. Why would I be jealous of Ditzy-Doo's syrupy sweet dopiness? Breeze laughed sarcastically. Why? You know perfectly well, you dolt, the stallion shook his head. No, I guess I'm the dope for not making the connection earlier. Of course you're going to be jealous of any new pony that seems better than you. Glow attempted to respond, but Breeze continued. Here's a little news flash for you, Glow. It's been a couple years now since I realized what you were really like, and Ditzy-Doo, Or no, did he do? Well, it doesn't change the fact that I dumped you because you're a jerk and I don't want anything to do with you anymore. Outside the lounge, Ditsy jumped with such shock that she nearly fell down the steps. Wait, Breeze and Glow were... Breeze stamped his hoof angrily. How could I have been so stupid and not figure this out? He yelled. You hate Ditsy because I like her instead of you. The complaints about your shipping record provided you with a petty excuse. But that's not really what it's about at all. So you tried everything you could. You were extra mean to her. You made her upset about her job and her ideals. You even tried to drag her down to your level, probably just to make her less appealing to me. Glow, do you even know what kind of disaster you almost caused for poor Ditsy? The mare could have been in debt for the rest of her life. Ditsy, came Candy Floss's voice faintly from his office. What are you waiting for? In the moment of eavesdropping, Ditsy had almost entirely forgotten about her manager's request. As quietly as possible, she snuck down the stairs to her boss's office, careful not to alert the others of what she had just overheard. She slunk into Candy Floss's inner sanctum and sat down, her head swimming in of the implications of what she had just heard. And what no doubt still was still probably going on the floor above. All right, said Candy Floss calmly, lifting his head out of the filing cabinet drawer. I just need you to sign the Ditsy, are you all right? Yeah, I'm fine. Absentmindedly, Ditsy scribbled her name on the documents on which Candy Floss had requested her signature. She also produced a fake cheesy smile for her photograph. Excellent, said Candy Floss in a businesslike manner. Congratulations, by the way. Now please head back upstairs. I shall be up in a few minutes. There's more things that we have to take care of today. Okay, said the mayor quietly, stumbling out of the hallway. Ditsy tried to shake herself from the stupor as she plodded back up the stairs. The sound of arguing had now been replaced with a harsh silence. Trying not to let her distress show, she re-entered the room. Candy Floss will be up in a minute, she announced. He said there's more stuff to take care of today. Watt nodded enthusiastically. Every pony else seemed a little too tense to respond. Luckily, the awkward silence that had befallen the loungers quickly abated. Within a minute or two, the sound of hooves echoed on the steps again. Candy Floss entered the room and glanced around his employees. Good morning, every pony, he said quietly. If you don't mind, I would like to have a brief meeting regarding the results of yesterday's assignment with Princess Luna. A clipboard hovered into place in front of the stallion, and he briefly reviewed what he had written. Now, as we are all aware, the assignment was a success, and I would like to commend you for a job well done. Success when working with royalty can only be a boom in our company's reputation. Silence was the only response from the shippers, so Candy Floss decided to launch right into the next issue they clearly wanted to discuss. However, it has come to my attention that there was an incident last night that jeopardized that success, he continued, apparently due to some personal grudge, details of which I neither want to know or know. Our own Cosmic Glow took it upon herself to ensure the assignment's failure. Am I correct on this belief, or have I been misinformed? You are correct, said Bree sternly, turning to the unicorn co-worker, who was avoiding her boss's gaze. I see, said Candy Floss, maintaining an almost indifferent air about the situation. Now, Cosmic Glow, I hope you understand that this is a serious offense that caused me to place serious consideration into the removal of your position. Glow said nothing. But every pony was startled, and Glow thrilled. There seemed to be a counter-argument in Candy Floss's mind. But what? Glow asked. I did not see it fit to immediately terminate you as a shipper, considering the great deal of service you have done for this company. The good outweighs the bad, as they say. Exactly, Glow agreed. I'm far too valuable to get rid of. That's what I told the others. Now wait, said Candy Floss. Miss Glow, you did not allow me to finish. Glow shut up. You see, Candy Floss continued, this event was the most recent in a chain of unkind actions directed toward your fellow shippers, he continued. The way in which you treat ponies around you has left me to wonder why you are such a successful shipper yourself. Recently I had begun to become worried that you were an exception to my theory of sincere shipping. That again, Glowine. Boss, I know you really think about shipping on a very high level, but you seem need to open your eyes on the real world. It's just as easy to bring two ponies together with deception as it is with sincerity. And honestly, the client never knows the difference, so what's the harm? Indeed, you had almost convinced me that I was wrong, said Candyfloss quietly. The implications of that realization would have meant the implementation of an extensive reanalysis of my ethics shipping. A smile crept upon the stallion's face. But luckily I found a loophole, so there's no need of any of that. Glow snorted. What loophole? Last night I realized that you were planning to double-cross us. I made a few calls to examine your past endeavors, Candyfloss explained. The results were intriguing. How so? Asked Glow skeptically. Well, said Candyfloss, it turns out a great deal of ponies that you specifically have shipped in the past have seen those relationships fall apart catastrophically. Several dozen cases of this came to my attention last night. Some ponies were never meant to be together at all. But since you bypassed the sincerity rule and forced them to each other with your trickery, you created a match that was never meant to be at all. What's worse, some matches that were valid fell apart because of the deceptive, unwholesome methods you used to bring them together. Such actions sowed the seeds of distrust and ultimately broke apart what could have been a very happy relationship. Candyfloss shook his head sadly. In short, while you have the highest initial success rate of any pony at this company, save for Ditzy, you have the lowest rate of creating a lasting relationship. Calls to ponies shipped by our other members revealed no such problem. Glow was stunned. She glanced around in panic at the surprised faces of these bottles are under my foot, and I do not like that, pushing them away. Therefore, Candyfloss announced, due to this recent information coming to light, it is quite apparent that you, Cosmic Glow, are simply too much of a detriment to the reputation we uphold at Equestria Speedy Shipping Services. With a flash of light, Glow's contract appeared in front of Candyfloss, which he grasped in his front hooves and ripped cleanly in two. And so, you, Miss Glow, he motioned to the door, are excused. There was complete silence. Glow's mouth hung open for a moment in shock. Finally, with a furious growl, she turned and stormed out of the room, throwing the lounge door so hard with her magic that it nearly broke off its hinges. Fine! She cried out as she stomped down the stairs. I hate working here anyways. I can't wait to see your namby-pamby let this stupid business collapse, because without me around, it sure as hell won't be long. The unicorn's voice faded as she reached the front office of the building, and there was a dull thud as the front door slammed. Cosmic Glow had left Equestria Speedy Shipping Services for the last time. Good riddance, said Candyfloss, gently closing the lounge door with his magic. Suddenly a cheer broke out, quite startling the white unicorn. The other shippers whooped, and jumped for joy, excluding Wa, who wasn't exactly happy to see Cosmo Glow. The Earth Pony agreed that it was the right decision, and it was the best decision that could have been made for the company. That leaves just one final matter we need to discuss, Candyfloss said once the cheering had died. And that is the matter of you, Ditzy-Doo. You have forgotten that this in all the excitement, but as of today, you have been working for us for 1 full year. And must decide if you wish to renew your contract. Given our recent loss of stash, we really would appreciate your staying. I believe my recent discoveries of Glow should alleviate any final concerns about you and this occupation. Of course I'll stay, Ditzy said with a smile. This is the best job I've ever had. That's like the first misspelling I've ever seen. Or it could just be my dyslexia and acting up. This is wonderful. You say wonderful, said Candyfloss, returning the mayor's grateful grin. I'll leave you all to have your little party then. Be ready for the assignments as usual. Good day. Chuckling to himself, the enigmatic unicorn trotted from the room, tugging the door shut behind it. Well, it looks like that all works itself out, Cloudcover chuckled. Glow's finally gone. Ditzy will be sticking around. There's still one thing, Ditzy interrupted. The 3 stallions looked at their co-worker. What, is something wrong? Cloudcover asked. Well, kind of, said Ditzy, glancing at the floor. I, need to not talk to Breeze about something. Breeze pricked his ears. What up? He asked. Are you still going on about this morning at the castle? No, it's not that, Ditzy said, still shamefully avoiding Breeze's gaze. I kind of accidentally overheard some stuff that you said to Glow while I was downstairs. Breeze's irremovably casual expression finally vanished, replaced in an instant by one of shock and embarrassment. Oh, that she, The stallion was at a loss for words. Cloud cover sucked in his breath nervously. What seemed to have suddenly become very interested in his own shadow, poorly attempting to fake obliviousness. That's I can't say obliviousness to the situation. So you dated Glow for a long time, huh? Dizzy said quietly. I guess that makes her actions a little more understandable. I never, I've never known a pony to act like the way she did as for something as trivial as a company record. But I guess once you throw a messy breakup into the works, I'm sorry, Breeze blurted up suddenly. I didn't tell you because I was embarrassed that I was stupid enough to ever date some pony as awful as her. But if I'd realized sooner that the real reason she hated you so much was because that she saw you as uh, I hate to say it, as competition for my affection. I swear I would have let you know right away. Okay, calm down, Ditzy urged. I know you would have. You're too good of a friend to do something like that intentionally. The only one at fault here is Glow. Breeze blinked in surprise. Wait, you're not mad? Of course not, Dizzy said. I'm kind of glad that I know about this now. Actually, it makes Glow a little easier to understand. The mayor smirked. Of course, that doesn't change the fact that she's a royal pain in the flank. Breeze laughed. You're right about that one. The two ponies giggled for a moment longer, but Dizzy suddenly turned serious again. Speaking of relationships, she said carefully, I couldn't help but overhear something else during the argument. Breeze's pupils shrank substantially. You heard everything, didn't you? She said morosely. Ditsy nodded. Boy, said Watt in a loud and distracting manner. Did you ever notice how good your shadow is at copying you? I mean, this would make a great mime. Shut up, Watt. You're not helping things, Cloudcover grumbled. Watt frowned. Fine, see how long you all last without my comic relief, the Earth Pony hissed back. Ditsy and Breeze seemed oblivious to the hushed argument of their coworkers, which was probably a good thing. So, I guess the cat's out of the bag, he coughed awkwardly, pawing nervously at the floor. I wasn't sure I wanted to tell you since, I mean, after you lost your husband, I wasn't sure if you were looking for some pony new or not. And then yesterday when I found out the story about how you lost him, it made me feel even less sure. Plus, after I finally realized that Glow was just manipulating me, I've been hesitant to start dating again. I didn't want to repeat that disaster. Breeze seemed to realize what he had just said and waved his front hooves defensively. Not that you've given me any reason to think going out with you would be a disaster, of course. I mean, you're obviously the opposite of her. He laughed nervously. It's kind of ironic when you think about it, he sighed. We all start new relationships for every pony every day, but I managed to botch it up when I tried to start a new one up for myself. Breeze, you aren't botching anything up, Ditsy said. Stop and think for a second. Who was the pony who helped me get acclimated when I accidentally wound up at this company? Who was the pony that was there for me when I was dealing with a problem Glow created for me? Who talked me into finally telling Dinky about this job? And what kind enough to play wait, what? Was kind enough to play along with me until I was ready. And most importantly, who gave up his reward selflessly to save me from a lifetime of debt this morning? She smiled. If you like me, this is a guilt trip. Those all seem pretty good ways to express it. Breeze chuckled nervously again. Yeah, about that this morning. I realized that sure, there are plenty of materials I'd love to have, but it occurred to me right now the one thing that would make me happiest is seeing you happy. I mean, you've had it so hard for years, and you've gritted your teeth and pressed on every time, and I just couldn't bear to see you have to do it again." He frowned again, breaking eye contact and staring at the floor. "And I still want to see you happy, so if you're not interested or something, please just forget it happened. We'll just be friends." Ditzy smiled disbelievingly. "You really are the most selfless pony I've ever met," she said. "Me?" said Breeze. "What about you?" "Yes, yes, both of you are selfless," Cloudcover said. "Now pardon me for asking, but is this whole conversation going anywhere or not?" All eyes turned to Ditzy. The mare giggled bashfully. "Well, listen, Bree," she began. "Do you know why I like having this job? Or why I like being a male mare before this? It's because I get to meet people and interact with so many different ponies every day. Some are different than others. More friendly ones, more stern ones, mean ones, and some really goofy ones. But I love working with them because when I go home, all I have is Dinky. I've got no family left, and not many friends outside of you all. And truth be told, it gets lonely. Work is a great way to relieve that, but it sure would be nice to have some pony to spend time more regularly with. Some pony who really understands me and likes me for who I am." Breeze's eyes widened. "Does that mean—" Tsitsi laughed at her friend's sudden awkward state. "If I have to be so blunt about it, then yes, of course I'll date you, silly." Ditsy giggled at as the stallion collapsed on the floor, relieved. Cloudcover and Wa had a sort of hip hip hoorays for the new lovebirds. "Why don't you come over again tonight?" Ditsy asked. "In fact, why don't you all come over tonight? We can have a party." "Great idea," Watt agreed. "It can be a Ditzy and Breeze are now mare friend and co-friend. Glow is gone for good. Ditzy's not in debt anymore. Dinky's got accepted into the academy kind of party. Pinky loves throwing combo parties. I'll have her bring the doozy party cannon and everything, and there can be games and food and dancing and fireworks and—" The three stallions and the mare continued their celebratory plans for the night, unaware of the mysterious old unicorn listening from the outside the door, who had been standing there since he left the company of his employees several minutes earlier. Grinning somewhat smugly, the stallion crept quickly down the stairs and back into his office, shutting the door with a burst of magic. He sat down at his desk and extracted a tiny gold key from his personal belongings. Using this key, he unlocked a small drawer in the desk and extracted a tiny, dusty book. Candyfloss brushed the debris of the unmarked cover from the battered old tome before opening it to the next available page. Lifting a quilt in his magic aura, he hesitated pensively for a few moments and began to write. Entry 204. Why did I ever doubt myself? Things always work out in the end. This success spans a full year, perhaps the longest any one job has ever taken. I admit at times it's not clear what my matchmaking magic was trying to accomplish. I was concerned that I had lost my touch, that it was too dangerous for me to continue acting upon the urges of my usual magic. The first event that I can contribute to this pairing was when I set out to fulfill one of the many random whims that my special magic dictated for me. It was a simple task that afternoon, switching a sign pointing to Canterlot so it faced the other direction. I assumed this action would lead to some lovesick pony stumbling into the wrong town and by extension meeting the mare of his dreams. Such events are common results of my work, but this time I was wrong. Imagine discovering the next day that this seemingly harmless action had caused a desperate mare, dangling on the edge of employment, to lose her way when delivering an important message. Her tardiness cost her her job. I was dumbstruck. How could my matchmaking magic, usually so benign or even beneficial, allow for such a horrible thing to happen? I seriously considered never listening to the premonitions brought on by my own special talent again. So when, by some serendipitous turn of events, the very mare whose life I had inadvertently ruined showed up seeking employment at this very establishment, I jumped at the chance to give her the job and correct my error. This mare is my new star employee, the Pegasus Ditsy Doo. Over the course of this past year, her life has become filled with new adventures and experiences as a member of Equestria Speedy Shipping Services. But I still wasn't convinced that any of my actions had been harmless.
nor could I find evidence of a successful match being made as a result. My powers were dormant for a long time. I began to become convinced that my realization that my skills may not have been perfect had led to them being extinguished. But finally they sprang to life again. This night, they urged me to send Ditsydu's daughter along to Canterlot. I was left to assume that this was necessary to help the successful shipping of Princess Luna, and it indeed was, but by extension it proved to be the final step in bringing together another pair. Now two of my employees, Ditsydu, the struggling widowed mare looking for a companion, and Autumn Breeze, a stallion disenchanted with the idea of love as a result of an earlier relationship gone sour, have found a new partner in one another. This was the pairing that my magic had caused me to set out to make on that fateful day over a year ago. It just took a very long time to make itself apparent. Love is a mysterious thing. Every time I've convinced myself I have finally grown wise to all its tricks, it throws me a new tactic my way. And once again, I must consider myself extremely humble to be able to channel its force, and making the decisions that allow it to spread more fully among the citizens of this fair land. Congratulations, Ditsydu and Autumn Breeze. I wish you both the best in the future. Also, I must consider this my latest successful mission, and my record is still perfect. Candy Floss. Several months later, Dinky Doo scurried around her bedroom, performing one final scan to make sure all of her necessary belongings were packed into her suitcase, in what was now an effortless action. She tore open the drawers of her bureau with a brief spark of magic. Glancing inside and seeing nothing of importance, she shut them again, not wanting to be late. She lifted all her bags simultaneously, and ran out of her room with the belongings floating around her like a dense cloud. "There you are, Dinky," Titsy said, when her filly finally appeared. "Come on. The cart is waiting outside. You need to go to the train station on time, or you're going to be late on getting to the academy." "I know," Dinky panted, absent-mindedly shutting the door behind her with a flicker of magic. "But I'm ready now. Is any pony coming along?" "Of course," Titsy said. "Breeze is coming with us to the train station, and I think Twilight Sparkle is coming along too, if she can spare the time. Now, let's go." The mare trotted outside into the early morning sunlight, followed by her filly and the suspended cloud of luggage. Luckily, the aforementioned red Pegasus and purple unicorn were just arriving. "Hello, Titsy," Twilight greeted. "Today's the day, huh? I had my doubts that I'd be able to put a filly through such a basic magic training in such a short time. But Dinky finished it with time to spare. I haven't seen a filly so fit for Celestia's Academy for Gifted Unicorns since, well, me." Titsy and Twilight laughed. Breeze trotted over to the filly. "Need any help loading this stuff onto the cart?" he asked her. Dinky responded by catapulting the luggage into the vehicle where it landed perfectly neatly and organized. "Nope, but thanks for asking, Mr. Breeze." Breeze chuckled. "No problem, kiddo." The time had come to set off for Ponyville train station. Ditzy and Breeze pulled the large cart along while Dinky, Twilight, and the mountain of baggage rode in the back. "So, Dinky," Twilight began, "are you excited? You're about to go to the greatest academy in magic of all time." Dinky squealed with delight. "Of course, it's going to be so much fun." The filly's smile shrank slightly. "But you think I can do it, right, Miss Twilight?" "Oh, that was bad. But you think I can do it, right, Miss Twilight?" "Of course," Twilight said sincerely. "I haven't seen a pony with talent in so long. Just study hard and practice, and you'll do fine." Dinky blushed. "Thanks, Miss Twilight." The trip seemed to take no time at all. Soon the four ponies arrived at the train station, which was packed with eager unicorn fillies and colts and their proud parents. "Well, we made it," Ditzy said. "The train's leaving in a few minutes." Dinky collected her bags and looked at the train. Suddenly she dropped all her possessions and looked around, wrapping her four legs around her mother in a big tight hug. Ditzy patted her daughter on the back, fighting back a couple of happy tears. "Don't worry, Dinky. I'll see you this weekend, remember?" "I know that," Dinky said, her voice muffled slightly by the fact that her face was buried in her mother's coat. I I just can't thank you enough, Mommy, for giving me this chance. I promise I'll do my best. I know you will, Ditzy whispered back. You're a smart filly. Dinky broke the hug, kissing her mother gently on the cheek, and then trotted over to Breeze. I'll see you soon too, Mr. Breeze, she said sweetly. Take care of Mommy, will you, while I'm gone. And Miss Twilight, she continued, I'll be sure to show you everything I've learned next time I see you. Twilight smiled warmly. Looking forward to it, and remember, you can always come visit me if you want some extra practice. I messed up. Dinky nodded. Thank you so much, all of you. It was nothing, Dinky, Ditzy said. Now go on. Remember to be safe and have a good time. Dinky picked up her bags and turned to board the train. Hey, Dinky, wait. A brown and white earth colt. What the freak? A brown and white earth colt tore through the train station, catching up to the young unicorn just in time. Pipsqueak, Dinky squealed happily. I didn't think you were going to make it. I ran all the way from here, Pipsqueak said breathlessly. Since you're not going to be at school anymore, I just had to come and say goodbye. Dinky hugged her friend. You're the sweetest, Pip. I'll see you next weekend, 'kay? Yeah, Pipsqueak said. Have a good time. And if you see Princess Luna, say hi for her to me. I'll do that, Dinky said. So long, Pip. The filly took a deep breath and stepped up into the train car. Any pony else? The conductor called. The last call for the train to Celestia's Academy for Gifted Unicorns. Dinky leaned out the window and waved to her mother and friends. Ditzy waved back, stopping occasionally to wipe all of her tears with a hoof. A moment later the whistle blew and the train began to move. Good luck, Dinky, the mayor called one final time. We're all rooting for you. Dinky waved out the window for a few seconds longer before the train disappeared from the station and began to make its way into the mountains. Sighing, Ditzy placed her head on Breeze's shoulder. You think Ditzy will be okay up there by herself? She asked her colt friend quietly. Okay, Breeze said incredulously. Ditzy, this is the same filly that fought off Glove without an ounce of prior magic experience. Now that she knows what she's doing, there's nothing she can't handle. I guess you're right, Ditzy admitted, but it's only natural for me to be worried, you know. Yeah, said Breeze, and that's just 'cause you're such a good mom. Oh, stop flattering me, Ditzy chided. Breeze gave his mare friend a quick kiss. Who's flattering? He asked innocently. Ditzy just laughed and shook her head. The trail of smoke from the receding train vanished, and with it most of the ponies on the station platform. Only a few remained. Come on, said Breeze. Let's get going. Don't forget, we're meeting Want and Pinky for a double lunch date later. Oh yeah, Ditzy remembered, spreading her wings to take off with the other Pegasus. Let's hope we don't wind up in any parallel dimensions this time. I still wish I had been there for that. Laughing, the happy couple ascended into the morning sky. One mistake can change your whole life. One decision can create a new future. And one good friend is all you need to help you light your way, and to walk that path together with you. The end. Final author's note. Well, that was certainly a heck of a project. I'd like to extend thanks to a couple of people. First, thanks to Equestria Daily for, posting this. Also, thanks for Ratalia on DeviantArt who created the lovely cover art for shipping and handling. Thanks again, Ratea. And finally, to the readers who put up with nearly 100,000 words of text to reach this point, I sincerely hope that you have enjoyed this adventure. Please remember to comment on your opinions on this chapter, the story as well. Feedback makes me happy. Also, the shipping and handling bonus chapters are now available. Also, the official sequel, Hocus Pocus, begins March 2013! No, it's impossible! This story, no, it can't go on!